I think. We got a bit of a late start. The room that we were originally in didn't pan out, and it said we didn't have any viewers, so we didn't really matter, but I see people asking us questions.
But we're ready to go now.
Yeah, but seemed to be ready to go. Hope I didn't just cancel out of the dang cast. New guy driving here.
Looks like we're frozen, maybe. Why do I not have power? There we go. Looks like you'll have to bear with us a little. Looks like the internet is it's a little flaky here. Mostly hotel internet, so it's
Okay, but anyway, yeah. So here we are at. I said we didn't have any viewers, so we didn't really matter. But what the heck? Questions.
we're ready to go now.
Oh, hold on, guys. We got some noob problems here. When you do this twice a year, it shows you forget what you're supposed to do. Trying to get to a quiet driving here.
That's what it is.
Looks like we're frozen, maybe.
Hopefully we still have the hangout going. Anyway, so back to what we're doing. WISPAmerica 2015, St. Louis, Union Station Hotel. Most interesting hotel I've ever been in. They built the hotel in a mall inside of an old 1800s train station. And everything just looks nice. It's not just a big box with random crap.
It's a pretty nice hotel. It's spaced out good. The vendor area is good. I mean, so far it's been a really good show.
We actually had some Q&A here asking when we were going to start. We're starting now, Joey, Craig. So hopefully.
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes late.
Hopefully you're still here.
Yeah, hopefully you're still with us.
Moving on here. JJ's been coming in and out. Not sure if he's actually here at the moment or not.
Yeah, I'm here for the moment. I'm muting the mic, but
okay. So we've got there's a lot going on. This is the largest spring show WISP has had. I think they're right around 600 attendees. Last number I heard was like 596 with more people signing up. And the first fall show, which is the big show, the first fall show we had was only 613. So our little spring show is now almost as big as our first big show. But I didn't really think there's a lot going into the show that was new. But then I realized that it's been 6 months since we did a show. A lot has happened. Lots of new things I've seen at the show that that I hadn't really seen elsewhere yet.
It seems like to me there's two major aspects of the show, of the vendor side of things, LTE and fiber. There's a couple fiber vendors here. They sell anything from handholds to fiber splicing material, things like that, and they're actually exhibiting. And it's not a training type of situation. They're actually exhibiting, and there's I think 4 LTE vendors here.
Yeah.
They're kind of making a splash.
Telrad is someone that I've wanted to talk about for a few months now. Telrad, I guess, has been around for a very long time. I guess they've been making like teleco switches with Nortel for like 200 years or something like that. But they bought out a piece of Alvarian when it blew up a couple of years ago or a year ago, and they've made some big strides on their stuff. It's not for everybody. And Patrick, Patrick's, if you've been in the industry for a while, Patrick's been around since the beginning with different companies, usually an Alvarian or Alvarian-centric company.
Yeah.
But he'll be the first to tell you that we're not for everybody.
There's 2 pieces to the Telrad stuff. What they call their NOC software, which is the brains of everything, and then the actual equipment piece. The equipment piece really, in the grand scheme of things, isn't too bad. The NOC software is the big investment, which that's rightfully so. The software is what really drives a lot of these LTE and even some of the older WiMAX networks. LTE is very, very software specific. Well, not really software specific, but very software driven. So you're buying the NOC software, you're buying the license to put up the antennas and things like that. And the antennas really, the cost there is the bulk of the antenna. I mean, if you want to do 6x6 MIMO, they're 6 antennas, right?
Yeah.
6 physical antennas. So you're buying more stuff.
Yeah. And the Telrad solution, based on WiMAX with an upgrade path to LTE, which we've been hearing for years from many companies, only they've actually done it. They've actually have people that have converted from WiMAX to LTE. They've got a ton of stuff going on. They've got software that they'll load onto your Cambium 320 WiMAX platform, and people that have done that, it's an instant performance improvement. Telrad is pricey for the WISP space in that a base station, which they recommend three for 360-degree coverage. Base station's like, I'm not sure, $8,000-ish bucks. And then they've got back-end software, different, both monitoring and user authentication and just LTE controlled. There's different components, different ways of doing things. They're working on a version that doesn't need as much of the back-end software. It's just software built into the CP or built into the AP to reduce that upfront cost. Obviously, some features go away that have the LTE benefit, but if you're small, you're not going to use that yet anyway.
And then some of it is the LTE, WiMAX, the carrier world. The brains of everything isn't what the normal WISP is used to. It's not in the antenna; it's at the big box at the bottom. So they've just in natural progression of things, that's the way the carrier world does it. So that's the first step in getting it to the rest of the world, and then like Mike says, they're eventually maybe a roadmap to consolidate that into smaller pieces. And
they're also working on a hosted version of some of those pieces, just different levels of features that you need versus the cost to make it happen, to embrace the market, make it as easy as they can to get in, because it is so different. You're thinking, why am I spend $8,000 for a base station? And from some of the videos that we've seen, hearing some of the feedback, to people that haven't seen the math that Patrick throws out from the engineers, you'd say it's magic. They've got situations where there's entire non-line of sight in 365 band, which is not, there's been Pure Wave and other things like that doing stuff in 365 to make it a little better. But these guys have really put money into the physical components, hardware. It's all big boy, heavy duty stuff, as far as the amplifiers, things like that.
And this is stuff that's working. It's deployed today. People are using it. It's not, hey, this is all theory. This is what we're coming out with next month, next week, next year, whatever. It's actually deployed. So it's something someone can say, hey, I want to buy this. I want to deploy it. Okay, let's get it shipped to you.
And it is it is LTE standards on the access layer. So lots of times when a vendor comes out with some new magic they've tweaked, there's a lot of doubters because we don't know it's been proven. Well, it's just LTE. There's 30 companies and billions of dollars of investment, and Ericsson and Huawei and Alcatel, and all these guys working on this. It's a standard, and new standard revisions come out, adding higher QAMs and beamforming and higher orders of MIMO and stuff like that. It's just, things they can do firmware upgrade or just a firmware upgrade. But they've got miles of non-line of sight coverage. People with like neg 97 signals pulling like 65 megs off of a tower.
Yeah. I think I heard somewhere the radios themselves are sensitive to like neg 140 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Well, and they do have a different number system because of LTE.
Yeah.
And then its conversion is roughly add 30 to the number that they have in the LTE world to get the number that we're used to. But even still, at those low numbers, it still works out to be a great response. But for those guys that are using Motorola 900 because it was the best you could get in the middle of nowhere, even though it was only 4 megs at the access point, I hear guys that have 20 of these access points up on one tower. I don't know, I'm not sure what they cost. If they cost $2,000, that's $40,000 worth of AP to get 80 megs of throughput. 3 APs of Telrad will get you 300 meg.
Yeah.
With this version, next version will be double that, just a firmware upgrade for less money.
Yep.
So for those non-line of sight guys, like JJ, you got mountains and trees and forests. Might be something to take a look at. At least if it's just not a trial.
I may have missed it. I was kind of in and out just a little bit there on that dissertation. But did they talk about cost at all? I know you were talking about the software being.
Yeah, there's different pieces of it that have different costs, and a base station is about $8,000.
Then you add on your antennas, that's one of the real variables in this. If you do 3x3, obviously you don't need as many antennas as 4x4 or 6x6. So if you want to spread it out to the top end of the spectrum, you're buying more physical antennas to make this happen. So that's where you buy the base station, you buy the antennas, you buy the software.
But yeah, so like one base station, 360-degree coverage, all the soup to nuts, I think they're saying is about $30,000, including the back end that handles like 50 towers worth of stuff. Now, we're just going off of rumors and numbers, not rumors for sure.
I heard some numbers from a distributor.
Well, I mean, like I've heard some numbers at some point, but no, definitely, if this is even remotely of use to you, contact them for actual, quotes and prices and pieces. They'll work through all the details and options. But I mean, being able to do 100 meg through trees at miles, and people are doing it.
Yep.
So it's definitely something to look at for those non-line of sight cases. And they're among the first to praise other people. They have a lot of praise for the orange juice guys, Mimosa, in really doing something different and higher quality, and where things are really going to be for the WISP industry in the next couple of years.
Well, and Telrad's not the only LTE one here either.
Well, yeah, there's numerous LTEs here. I think it's up to 4.
Telrad just seems to be making a big splash. Because they have a product. I haven't personally talked to some of the other ones, but I know a lot of people are talking about Telrad because they can get it today.
Yeah, and then the nice thing about Telrad too is there are other LTEs that you can use other stuff, but they pride themselves on their CPE and their base stations that they built with better components than the other guys. So while you can get similar results perhaps from somebody else, they pride themselves on you'll get better performance with us because we use better LNAs and whatever the hell else is inside there.
A lot of that's just marketing too. Not to put down the other folks, I think it boils down to I haven't heard anybody on what's some of the other ones that are the LTE ones, because I've heard from, I haven't heard anybody that says, yeah, I have.
Well, yeah, like, there's these guys saying, I have this in the field doing that right now, and these guys report this.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily know on the other LTE folks, how their stuff runs, because we don't have any, actual WISPs reporting back, hey, I have one of these deployed. I think we've talked to 2 or 3 people that said we have the Telrad, whether they have the WiMAX going, or they're just now deploying the LTE and they're seeing their first results and stuff like that. So it's the one of the biggest benefits of LTE is it's a standard. So if you're LTE certified, it's up to, okay, how well can you deliver that LTE? Is your stuff is your stuff carrier quality and stuff like that. So, and then I don't know, this time I haven't seen too many of the non-LTE vendors come out other than Mimosa. I mean, you can talk about Mimosa, but other than Mimosa, there's not a big splash in anything else really that we don't know about, right?
They just announced Monday or Tuesday, I forget which day. I think it was Monday. They're calling the B5 Lite, I think, which is just they took their CPE, made it optimized for a point-to-point backhaul. I think they're saying like a 700 meg throughput for $300 for the whole link.
The whole link, not just a side, the whole link. So what do you think about that, JJ?
I think that's definitely some attractive pricing for a whole link. Have either of you two used any of the Mimosa stuff to see what kind of performance you're getting in the real world versus their PHY numbers?
There's been several people posting on AFMUG and Wispalis. I don't. They've had some supply issues due to the longshoreman strike. There's just a ton of boats sitting off the coast that can't actually. There's a ton of boats off the coast with products for everybody, not just Mimosa, not just WISP suppliers, but cars and dolls and whatever the heck else comes out of Asia. Waiting, and I think that has been resolved and they're just clearing through backlog now, those longshoreman guys. But
well, the Mimosa backhaul is they're still a half duplex radio, right?
Yeah.
So, but the guys I've talked to that actually have some deployed in the field, they're liking them better than the Airfiber 5s. They say for whatever reason, and I haven't looked into it too much, is they see better latency, across their link, and I'm not sure. I mean, you've talked to Mimosa enough to know why would that be compared to Airfiber?
Well, they have a couple different settings that you can choose. Basically, it's choose your latency.
Okay.
And obviously you would think you want the least latency, but there's throughput hits for each one.
Yeah.
So you have to decide what's more important to you, latency or throughput. And it's not dramatic. It's not like it goes from 0.1 milliseconds to 30 milliseconds. It's like 246 or 248 or something like that. And I'm not sure what the throughputs correspond to, but it's not a drastic thing. It's just how you want to optimize the network. But it was just as they weigh the market, see what people are interested in. They thought they can make a splash with that product. I got here Monday, and I spent 2 to 3 hours talking with Jamie Fink of Mimosa, one of their founders. Most of the stuff I can't say, but they've been executing well so far. They've come from a background of people that have made very big, Polycom 2 wire. I don't have any doubt that they'll follow through with their plans. And let's just say that from the things that I was told over the next year and a half, it's like everything I've ever wanted.
So with that being said, do they have any plans on higher gain, longer, more directivity CPEs? Because that's been one of the things why I'm not even considering it, is because a lot of our shots are longer. And
on the Mimosa stuff, their multi-point platform is debuting soon. Sometime, I forget when it was.
But they have a connectorized version.
Right, yeah. It's I think that their standard integrated one is like $100, and their connectorized one is like 110 or 120, something like that, is what they were saying. So then you put on anything you want. But then let's just say that through some of the stuff that the newer AC standards and revisions support, allow them to do some very interesting things in more dense landscapes. Lots of WISPs have traditionally been rural, at least the past 10 years. But for the suburban, urban guys, there's a lot of cool stuff coming that will really help them, big throughput, compete against the wireline guys. One thing that they have mentioned, on the WISPA list lately, there's a lot of, fuss made about the, cloud systems, Air Cloud side, Mimosa is cloud-based. They're providing you with a MIB soon and different APIs, and they're open to do many things. Lots of people, it's kind of a almost religious thing if they don't want their stuff in the cloud. I much prefer it to be on mine. Some things have to be on mine. I've already got my own infrastructure to do that. But one thing that they've already noticed with the cloud, with the limited distribution they have so far, they've already had a case where two operators on the same tower or same building were running Mimosa products and experiencing issues. They both reached out to Mimosa for support, and from the cloud monitoring stuff, they were able to say, you guys need to work out your sync issues. Basically, one had a master, one had a slave on the same tower, so therefore they were shouting over each other. Once they made them both masters or both slaves, whichever that worked out to be, they lived in harmony. And because of the cloud stuff, Mimosa knew both operators had the same equipment on the same structure.
Yeah, from a support standpoint, the cloud stuff will allow, the manufacturer to, pull in a lot of that data and analyze it should a support issue come up. So instead of saying, well, turn on your logging and send me the logging and all this stuff, they can log in and see it. Okay, we already have this. They're not sitting there, watching it all day, every day, but they have access to it.
But lots of cool stuff coming out of those guys. I look forward to what they have coming.
And the other kind of nice thing here at the show is there's at least two major fiber vendors that sell anything from duct to handholds to fiber patch panels to splicing machines. I think the Fiber Weekend at Vegas has really kind of opened up some of these vendors to say, hey, we need to be here, and we need to show people these products because they don't see them otherwise. Unless you're, it's kind of, where do you go to see the fiber stuff unless you want to go specifically to some fiber telco show or something like that. And even then, there's such a mismatch as the telephone companies have been doing fiber for years, so they're it's not new to them, so they know what microduct and interduct is, and they already have splicing machines and stuff like that. So they have reps that come along, and they come to them. So it's kind of nice to see some of these folks coming to these shows that are, hey, we can help you with your fiber deployments.
There's a couple of vendors here that handle the electronic side of the equation too. Dasan or something like that. I know Chuck's been working with them on a PON solution. Chuck started mostly AE, and lots of people are still forging ahead with AE, even on AE active Ethernet, just doing raw basic Ethernet. Lots of people are still forging ahead with that, but Chuck's wanting to play around.
Some people are doing GPON.
It's with the GPON, and the Dasan is a non-mainstream vendor that does that. That might be a little bit more palatable to a WISP. But then you've also got Alcatel Lucent here doing that same sort of thing. Business System Connections. I've bought stuff from them several times over the years. They were the North American vendor for Planet switches. They've got a bunch of fiber, outdoor, not outdoor rated, but more temperature extreme handling switches with fiber interfaces to do those AE environments. Is the big mic on in here? It sounded very. Oh, all right. So there's a ton of fiber stuff going on, and I guess we don't beat on the table too much. What's some of the other interesting things I've seen? Lots of.
There's a couple traffic engineering type companies. These are one, aren't they?
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't know how to pronounce them either. SAISEI, SAISEI. First heard of them a couple of weeks ago. Some of you may be more familiar with the Procera product, which has been out about a year or two now. You can buy those through PowerCode, it looks like, is their North American place.
They have a good partnership with PowerCode.
PowerCode seems to be like their WISP-centric thing, and PowerCode's kind of integrated their product with that, optionally.
These folks are doing layer 7 traffic manipulation. You subscribe to their service, or I'm not sure what their model is as far as sales and things like that, but they take care of if you want to prioritize Netflix traffic, we can do that. I look at it like the Barracuda type model. Is you have an appliance, that appliance does stuff on your network, but it also goes to our database, grabs our database that we know about all these different traffic types.
Yeah, and it's not just for people with full pipes that need to manage congestion issues. The SAISEI guys were showing me some of their stuff, and even places that aren't facing major congestion, but just the way TCP behaves on different traffic types, it just kind of makes a mess of things. If you watch Torch on Netflix, you'll see it burst incredibly for a short amount of time, and then nothing, and that causes a lot of issues with different protocols, and they just kind of smooth it all out so that things work a little nicer. And there's a ton of companies that Barracuda has something similar to that.
Yeah.
Procera has been around a couple of years now. A lot's been around for a long time. SAISEI actually mentioned a few other people that I didn't recognize, but those are mostly box-centric models. You might have to buy a $20,000 box.
Yeah.
In addition to their however many thousand a year subscription model for service support updates to the definitions. SAISEI, you can deploy it on your own virtual infrastructure or your own bare metal. They have some recommended, I think Dell HP Supermicro boxes. But if you have a vSphere environment, I do, I believe you do, JJ. you can deploy a template with SciSay on it, and you're good to go. You can give it a try. You don't have to spend $20,000 on a box to see if you like it. And their pricing model is $1 per month per user.
Yeah.
So you could spin up this infrastructure and 40 people, it costs you $40 a month. Who cares?
Sure.
If you've got 200 customers, 1,000 customers, you know, you could just trial it for a short amount of time. If you like it, you can just keep doing it. You don't have that large upfront sunk cost. If you want to expand from a small trial to a large one, it could be used for like a managed type service for an enterprise or something like that. You know, someone that, a customer of yours may want that service.
Yeah.
And at $1 a month per customer, you can handle most different sizes. Now, obviously, you have to pay for your hardware to handle it.
And I'm sure there's a setup fee.
But it makes it easier for small guys. It makes it easier for guys that just want to give it a shot, without committing a ton of dollars. That maybe you may want to spend on a backhaul or something.
The other thing I heard, have you heard this, JJ? And maybe you've heard it too, Mike, is not really related to the show, but just talking to some of the vendors and things. One of the vendors said Juniper is going to release their Juno S on the x86.
Yeah, it's called the VMX. I've talked to my Juniper sales rep a couple times. It's pretty new in the process. They don't quite have things ready to go yet, from what I understand. It's not going to be MikroTik pricing, obviously.
No, but it'll be on at least x86 hardware.
But it will permit you to do everything Juniper does.
And I'm sure they'll still follow the same kind of licensing model.
I'm not sure how much of the licensing stuff they want me to say, but it is a licensing model based upon traditionally features. You got a standard license and a premium license, but because they're not selling you big and small boxes, it's also performance. If you want, you can a 1 gig license, a 10 gig license, and I'm assuming since it's keyed like that, you can just scale it. You can start with the 1, and when you surpass 1, you can probably just upgrade to the 10.
Yeah.
How far it goes, I don't know, but you get all the Juniper software goodness. A BGP that works, a full VPLS implementation, carrier Ethernet, all the things that we actually want. Only not at MikroTik prices, which for some people it's worth it, some people it's not. Just have to see how things go. I'm definitely interested in them, just especially as I do some more of my expansions. The other stuff that Justin and I are working on. I may have more of a use for something that's a bit more professional.
Well, and part of it is the support too. Once you're talking about carrier Ethernet and things like that, you need the support. So you're going to get that with a company like Juniper. Does it fit for everything? Not really, but if it just gives you another option to say, hey, I can load this on my own hardware now.
MikroTik, over the years they have said that they're going back and forth, and if they're going to do a real support model, and once you talk about the amount of dollars you'll spend on support, every now and then they get excited that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then nothing ever happens. But yeah, I've heard of people going to the Ciscos and Junipers and whatnot with a support issue. They discover a bug of some kind, and they fix it and right away, and you send it over to you a customized beta load to make sure it fixes the problem. Incorporate that in the next release. MikroTik does a little bit of that, but not profoundly.
Sure. Yeah.
And definitely not at the rate that these other guys do.
Sure. So, another little tidbit I heard is from one of the folks is they are expecting a Router OS 7 he called it an alpha version, but he wasn't sure if it's going to be alpha or beta by the end of next month. Said he's supposed to have one in his hand by the end of next month. So, going to some of these shows, that's nothing really related to, the WISP industry, but yet it is. You pick up little tidbits like that, and little off the record type conversations. And,
I have lots of those. That's what makes doing this. I had to stop someone earlier. Can I talk about this, or can I not talk about this?
Yeah. Well, and it helps because, I think a lot of these folks, they're willing to talk about their product, under an NDA or something like that, because it helps you. You're here, you're saying, hey, I'm here, I'm trying to spend money. What's the best way I can spend my money? Well, we're coming out with this. Here's our roadmap, and it's also a sales tactic too, because okay, you've helped me kind of make my own roadmap of the products I'm going to buy. And then you're able to say, I'll wait on your product because you've kind of shown me what's going on.
Just to kind of expand upon that a little bit, camera kind of sucks. Package of SFPs.
How many were in there to begin with?
I had 6 to start with, and I've been handing them out as I talk to the vendors that have requested SFP cages on their devices in the past. Basically what I do is I take an SFP out of the package, I hand it to the vendor, and I say, give this to your engineer. Tell him I want to plug this into your box. Because you've said you're going to do it, and you haven't, so I can assume that they don't know what it is. So here is an SFP. Make it work in your box. So far, I've handed one to Ubiquity, Cambium, and Mimosa, with different. And it's part joke, part no, really make it happen. Why haven't you done this yet? Different responses from okay, we'll take it back, not really getting it, to our next product is definitely having that, to there's a lot that's happening, some alternative things that aren't quite what I want, but are really cool, and will help bridge the gap in the meantime. I've made presentations, apparently. I've been told that there have been now more than one presentation where I have been mentioned as handing out someone has been handing out SFPs to the vendors in regards to them taking feedback from their customers. They can't forget it when they go home and there's an SFP sitting in their bag. Oh yeah, we need to do that. And I bring that up constantly because I want it, and you will too in a couple of years if you don't right now.
We got Scott with On-Ramp Indiana sitting here with us. What's one of the things you've taken away from the show so far?
Man, there's just tons of technology. Most of the stuff's pretty hot. It seems like the Telrad stuff's the hot thing this week. I just don't know about, the Telrad's based on a 3.65, and then they've got a software upgrade that's maybe coming at some point or another, but pretty decent.
They've already delivered on the WiMAX to LTE upgrades to people. So I imagine that it will be, as the big boy LTE vendors get things ready, they'll be moving forward. Is there time up yet? I don't know what the schedule's like.
We're probably getting low.
Access points are kind of expensive, but it seems like they can deliver pretty high bandwidth to the end user.
2:45. Yeah, we got a few more minutes yet that we're allowed in here. But have you guys seen I'm not sure I pronounced these guys' name, Terlo Networks? They make a firmware you can flash onto your home router. Linksys, D-Link, they have a few that they support. that does, you plug in a USB hard drive and it does Netflix caching.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one they're talking about? If you wanted to wait a day, you could watch your Netflix. You just queue it up, it downloads, caches it, and then you can watch it, the next night or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically what they do is you start that Netflix stream and pause it, and then go, close it, go back to what you're doing. It saw that stream started, and then come 1 a.m. like on satellite, from 12 to 4 or whatever, it's uncapped. So then you can download all your Netflix that you wanted to watch during that free time. You watch it the next day. It's kind of like, I guess, DVD by mail, like what Netflix started with. But no, it's
Yeah, my biggest question to them, and they really, they answered it, but they didn't answer it, was, okay, Netflix says you're not supposed to really do that. You're not supposed to be able to download their content, for future use. So, what's going to prevent a company like that from Netflix doing something around that?
right. Yeah, and I mean, they've been hitting the big shows, making a splash. CES. I think they were at a couple others.
Yeah.
So it's not like Netflix doesn't know that they exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And they haven't been issued a cease and desist yet. So either it's okay now, or I don't know. Billing system changes. I mentioned earlier how PowerCode's integrating with the Procera setup. They started selling it, so that they just kind of worked on integrating into their platform. I saw a demo today of the new WISPAmerica platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's been shied for a while. It's built on Adobe Air, so it was kind of sluggish. Cross-platform support was kind of sucky, and the new one is all just HTML5.
Yeah.
There's no proprietary stuff. It looks really nice. Tons of nice new stuff. They dropped out some of the stuff that no one used.
I think we'll see billing software more and more, get faster. They want to streamline it, get it faster, where it works on mobile devices, all these things all across the board, more features. They want it to be a true all-in-one CRM type platform, from the time the customer, talks to you, to the time you install them, to the time you support them, everything. So I think we'll see these billing softwares integrate more and more of these technologies, either directly or through partnerships with themselves, or partnerships with other companies.
It's another one of the horns they beat is people are how do I get my 477 information? How do I get this? And I always say, ask your billing company.
Well, I talked to Cameron from WISPAmerica today. We're sitting up there, and he was got his laptop out, and he's like, well, I have 5 or 6 Form 477 exports to do this week. So
yeah, and they billing platforms solve a lot. There's so many guys using QuickBooks or other things for their WISP and nothing's tied together. It's a mess. They don't have all these new things. So as they become more sophisticated, yet easier to use, hopefully we see more WISPs adopt those sorts of things.
I think this one's got tower coverage integrated in their product now, and I think is doing too.
Not towercoverage.com, but they have
they have an API.
They have an API with it's some open source stuff he's pulling in, and he's pulling in a bunch of stuff.
Because Cameron's background is in RF engineering, so he does that stuff, and so he's built some tools, took some open source stuff, and he doesn't need tower coverage because he built his own.
Yeah.
It's tower coverage has been for me for a long time. It's not like, but I have WISPAmerica before you started, and it already does it. You might have a good, yours may be good. Lots of people use it, but I already have this, so I don't need that.
Yeah.
A couple things I saw. I've seen them here before. Didn't really pay much attention to them. People doing Kalia stuff.
Yeah.
Yana Technologies, and there's somebody with AdX, with a separate company partnered with, I guess, whatever, doing different CLIA compliance things. The other thing that was interesting is that they do have a box they put on your network, but unlike the stuff back in the day where it had to be within the data stream, it had to be watching everything. It's just literally a box on your network. It could be in your house, in your data center, wherever it is you want to put it. It's just to interface between your network and them. They will connect into your MicroTik routers. I didn't ask for other brands because I don't have them, so I don't care. And they will capture that data from as many routers as necessary to get the data that's in the subpoena. And they will process it. They'll make sure that it's lawful data, like what they're asking for and only what they're asking for. Because if the police get more than what they want,
then that could
it's
be
bad
a problem.
data. They can't use that in court because it's other stuff. And the price was that they had this unique pricing matrix where the number of WISPA members that signed up for their service dictated what it cost per month. So if one signed up,
incentive,
if one WISPA member signs up, it's like $299 a month for the service for everything. If 500 signed up, it was only like $149 a month. It's a great sales tactic. If you want to pay less, get your buddy to pay for it too. And lots of people
CLIA stuff is something they have to do.
If
you're a serious network operator, you have to have a plan for CLIA.
Because back when that first started, part15.org and whatnot, it was, part 15 made a policy, the FBI okayed it, so all you had to do was say, yeah, I'm with part 15. Well, they haven't existed for years, and I'm sure the requirements have changed by then too. So if you did that,
well,
6 years ago,
necessarily the same, still updated, but you need an updated CLIA policy to keep up with the times, and you need an updated CLIA. CLIA 3.0 is coming soon.
But as we
we're going a little bit not quite an hour, but we're
Yeah.
going to lose the room pretty soon.
the
So,
other people coming in about 10 minutes. Next session starts.
but just feel free to ask questions on Facebook. We're going to be here for another day. This is Wednesday. We'll be here, until tomorrow. We can go around to exhibitors, ask questions. I know I got some pictures to post and stuff like that of different equipment and some geek porn type stuff. And hit us up, ask questions, find us at the show, whatever. Buy us a beer, we'll buy you a beer.
I'm not buying many beers, but I'll take many beers.
I'll take many beers, But yeah,
JJ, anything more from you?
I don't know if he's still here. I saw the where it was just you.
Oh, yep. I guess
Yeah.
he dropped off. I guess maybe he had to actually go work or something.
But yeah, do we have to wait on Greg to upload this?
Nope. As soon as I stop this, it will be posted to YouTube.
Rock out.
It won't show up on the.
It won't show up on the Brothers WISP page, but we'll
All right.
get it on Facebook and everything else. It'll it won't
Mum. Good question, Justin Miller. Mum has been moved up. It's normally in September. Now it's
be April.
April.
Yes.
Miami, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be Miami. I think about that earlier. I forgot to mention it. So it's been moved up 4 months, 5 months.
What's the dates? Like the 21st or
I
something?
have no idea. It is towards the end of the month, but they have to be doing something special.
Yeah. There's
To
all
move
kinds of rumors.
Um,
My prediction, here's my prediction, is that Router OS 7 is coming out this fall. They want to get all the mums out of the way, so they're back in Latvia to support version 7. That's my prediction.
My hope is that they have big hardware available. Most of their mums are in non-US. They're in Central America, Southeast Asia, India, Africa, and like a 1072 just doesn't do them any good 10 gigs is more than most of those countries have for internet, period.
Yeah. April 23rd to the 24th in Miami.
So announcing, this product is now shipping that does 80 gigs.
Yeah, announcing that
they don't care.
Announcing that in Cambodia is probably not going to be a good,
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, they don't care. But we do. Justin Miller thinks it could be the dude. There's been I've seen talk about job postings for Android and iOS developers.
I would buy Giannis mini beers for the dude, and that's saying a lot. I might have to take out a loan for that.
But
So Giannis, lots of beers if dude comes out.
So hopefully it's something that we actually want. All these vendors seem to have a habit of.
In Russia, we give you what we want.
Lots of vendors, they give you almost what you want and not what you actually want. Which is why I ask them nicely 2 or 3 times privately, and then I go nicely a few times publicly, and then I publicly harass them and beat them until they make what I want.
And they just say F you and go on with life.
Well, until somebody else does, and then they realize they're mistaken. And they go, stop buying your gear because you don't have this. Oh. More and more people coming in, so we're going to sign off.
Thanks for watching.
See you later.